Today we're going to do a quick tutorial for how to do content optimization for Shopify stores. I'll try to keep this nice and short and to the point, and I'll do this by demonstrating on an actual store I just made called Online Boots. So if you're already in Shopify, you'll notice that this is just a default template that they give you. And what I want to do is set up multiple versions of this headline because this is the very first thing the user sees. So I'll have multiple versions of this, and eventually the ones that work the best, I'll leave them in place. So let's begin by going into the Shopify backend. And where we want to go is to the online store, themes. Okay, and click actions and edit code. So theme.liquid, this is the first file we're going to change, and the other one we're going to change is hero liquid. Theme liquid, this is basically the main HTML for the whole website. And hero liquid, this is the HTML just for this part here. So let's open up those two files so we have them ready. In theme liquid, we want to scroll down to the end of the head tag right there, because we're going to be pasting some code in here. Alright, so let's go to SnippetAI, and I want to add a website to my account. This one's called onlineboots.shopify. Alright, there it is. And I want to grab the tracking snippet. What this snippet is going to do is track all the users that visit the website, and eventually it's going to decide which versions are the best. So I'll just copy that, and I will paste it right above the head element. There we go. Save that. The next thing we want to do is set up a campaign. And the reason for setting up a campaign is we want the algorithm to follow a certain strategy for which content version is best. So let me show you what I'm doing. I'm going to name my campaign. So let's call it Online Boots Visitors. And the goal is going to be, we want to maximize page views. And this means that we want to reward the versions that have users viewing the most pages from the website. So for example, if a user just leaves the website, that'll be a 0. And if a user clicks around and browses some products, this is going to be a +1. And the website is My Boots. And we're just going to activate it right away. Alright, there's my campaign. And the next thing we're going to do is go to tags and versions. And we're going to create a new content tag. Let's call this Online Boots Headline, right? This is the campaign. And the URL is the homepage again. It'll definitely help if you have the URL on hand for where you want the content tag to show. And the reason is going to be obvious in a second because we're going to use previews. So there's our tag. Again, we're going to grab a snippet, copy that, and let's go this time to hero liquid. And we want to change the headline, which is right here, H2. You know what? Let's just delete this whole line. And we're going to paste it right in here. Done. Save that. Now let's set up a couple of versions of different headlines we're going to have. Click New Content Version. Let's name this version 1. And here's the thing about headlines. Again, this is the very first thing your customer is going to see when they visit the website. So it's really important. It's got to be both informative about what you're selling, and it's got to be, let's say, nice enough that they decide to stay. Here, adjectives help. So for example, something like unique boots online. And we're going to make this into a headline 2. Heading 2. Let's save this version. Let's make another version. Call it version 2. I'm going to make a bunch of different versions because really I don't know which one's going to work best. So what I like to do is create like 3 or 4 different versions of what I think is a good headline for a person to see. Perfect boots for you. Again, we're going to select this and format it as heading 2. Save that. Let's have another one still. Version 3. Let's have a slightly longer one. Need boots. We have what you need. Again, some of these titles or headlines might be terrible. Some of them might be good, but we'll just know by experimenting. And let's preview one of these versions. There you go. You need boots online, right? Let's preview the other ones. Make sure they're all working in my Shopify store. Perfect boots for you. Nice. Hey boots, we have what you need. All right, let's see what else we can do. These are all things that, by the way, Shopify will not let you do. So we are sort of inserting our own code here. Let me change this one to be a headline 1. So larger text, okay. Let's preview that again. Nice. We can do a lot of things, by the way. So let me change this again. We can change the color. Okay, so let's pick something like near white. Save that. Let's preview it. There we go. It's looking a little bit better. Let me change it again to see what else I can do. Let me underline this need part. It's a nice touch. Need boots, we have what you need. Need is in there twice, so let me change that to want. Save that. Alright, that's looking better. Cool. So what's going to happen is, as the days go on, actual visitors will come into the website. Every visitor is going to get an own version. SnippetAI will make sure that person does not see multiple headlines. So, for example, if you come in today and a couple of hours later you return, you'll still get the same headline. So this is all taken care of by SnippetAI. And so different people will get different headlines. SnippetAI will start experimenting, and eventually it'll start to learn which headlines work for which users. So let me show you something interesting that is going to happen eventually is, this is for one of my other projects. I have a lot of these things. So what I did was I made 4 different headlines, and these are just statistics for it. Eventually it turned out that 2 of those headlines were pretty terrible in comparison to the other ones. So I was thinking that all 4 are good. Science proved that 2 were terrible and only 2 were good. So eventually I disabled the other 2, but I'm still keeping the other 2 alive, and that's because the artificial intelligence learned that, for example, English US users like one version, but English UK users like another version. Isn't that strange, yeah? 2 different versions. One version somehow resonates with the US users, and the other version works better for UK users. And there's a ton of statistics about these 2 versions, so desktop versus phone. Again, desktop users tend to like one over the other. People coming in from Google versus Google Australia. Again, 2 different versions. You're also going to get performance statistics, which versions performed how over time, display history, and which versions work better for which devices, and so on. But this is really the heart of it. Yeah, this is something that's really a killer, because I, as a website owner, can now learn about my users kind of just by watching how they interact with the website. So again, this is another website. This was about 2 weeks of interaction time, and this is what the artificial intelligence learned. Let's see what my website looks like if I visit it directly. So there you go. We got one of those headlines. I hope this was informative and helpful. Again, with SnippetAI, you can do a lot more than what is possible with the default Shopify installation. And I hope this is going to help you out in your business adventures. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.